Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Mount Mindset. I'm Gio McNee, your host. In today's episode, we are going to cover off something that's been hot in the press, something I'm asked about a lot, and it seems to be a hot topic for everyone, and that is anxiety. What is it? Why is there a sudden rise? What can you do to defeat it? And what's the benefits of getting control of it? How easy is it to solve? And is it really as big a problem as people feel like it is? Also, what we've got coming up is a series of solo episodes where I'm going to deep dive into the following topics. I'm going to release a short video explaining how to get over the most common hurdles and also how to get yourself on a positive side of things. So, moving from where you currently are, where you feel restricted, stuck, and held back, and actually get some momentum and progress and see some growth in each area of your life. At this point, I'm going to go over each section individually and give you a heads up on what's about to come. And if you haven't done so, please give the channel a follow. If you're listening on Spotify, leave a review. It really helps the channel. And we're going to grow this thing because I think the topics that we're discussing, there's never been a time where we need them more than now. So if you know someone that needs this type of podcast, needs this type of information, you think it can help, please do share it. So the topics that we're going to cover off in the next series are the following. Number one, destroying doubt and how to feel confident. So you've heard me talking about confidence before, but we're going to tie that with destroying confidence, destroying doubt and then creating a feeling of confidence. Because what you'll notice is these feelings that you feel that have these negative connotations are on the same scale. They're the same thing, but on different ends of the scale. So doubt is the opposite of confidence. So you could say it's the same thing, but at different opposite ends of the scale. The next biggest one is leaping from a side hustle to making that your main job. So, or making that your main business or your main income. One of the things that people can experience when they're doing this is a real worry about what ifs, and nearly all of the time, these what ifs aren't warranted. So we're going to cover off how you can actually move from the comfort blanket, the safety blanket of being employed, and moving into what you love and how you can progress in your side hustle and make it a full-time gig. Next thing is how to fire back up after hitting a big milestone. So this is a common thing. If you've had a taste of success, you make a big push, you have a big drive towards something, you get there, you celebrate, everything's great, and then you sort of fall back into the comfort trap because you don't have anything to push for, and you've pushed, and then you think, what's next? And to get those engines fired back up can sometimes be quite difficult. So how to handle that? Number 4, the trap. Working hard versus working smart. How to avoid working hard without working smart, and what's the benefit of working smart instead of hard. And there's a secret combination in there how you can make the best use of them both. So stand by for that one. That'll be a cracker. Number 5, the key to building confidence. So these are the particular things that you need to do to keep accelerating and growing your confidence. Because confidence is, as we've covered off in other episodes, one of the most attractive qualities that there are. And it's going to help you in every situation in your life, whether it be when you're on your own or when you're out and about, when you're training, when you're meeting new people, when you're interacting with your friends and family. Confidence is an amazing thing to have. There cannot not be enough confidence. So how you can keep maintaining and growing your confidence, will be cover that off in that episode. Number 6, controversial one. Are your friends holding you back? So there's a great saying, I think one of the earliest ones that I'd ever said, Dan Pena said it, and Jim Rohn before him had said it, and Tony Robbins has also said it. And the statement is that you are the grand sum of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. So are these people that you're spending most of your time with holding you back? Number 7, overcoming the fear of rejection. So in today's topic, we're going to cover off anxiety, and one of the things that the great things that cause a great number of anxiety related issues is the fear of something. So we'll cover that off in more detail, but we'll overcome how to handle specifically rejection. Number 8, breaking free from analysis by paralysis. So there's no perfect time. The conditions won't be perfect. How do you change that? How do you get going with an imperfect plan and actually start to learn on the job? It's a great thing to release the handbrake off your plans so that you can actually start getting momentum and start to feel growth. Number 9, how to master self-discipline. I think it's never a bad thing to visit self-discipline. We've done a few episodes in it before, but just driving home, a little backstop, a little check where we say, look, how is my self-discipline doing? Am I just as hot as the last time? Is there anything I can tighten up on? Is there anything I can improve? Is there anything I've slipped up lately that I want to dial in? Great episode to cover off, and it'll cover off all things like weight loss, physical improvement, mindset training, and just general good practice, because when you have discipline, it removes that need for motivation. We'll go into that in a bit more detail later on. Number 10 is comparison, the thief of joy. That seems to be the greatest kind of cop out, I would say, that's bandied about. Cue your vegan fringe, blue haired sort of, I'm offended by everything. There might be an image here somewhere around the screen where you can see someone that might say that. Mastering the highs and lows. So this life that you have, you're going to have ups and downs, highs and lows, resistance, obstacles. Sometimes you're even going to get in your own way. So what's the best way to keep moving? What's the best way to keep rolling? That'll be a really good episode to cover off. Number 12, how to get out of a rut. So if you feel yourself stuck and you feel yourself, in a bit of a trap, and you don't really know what the best way to start, that we can go into practical measures no matter what situation you're in. What should you focus on first of all, and then what actions can you take to make sure that you're moving and progressing forward? 13, your comfort zone is killing your growth. There is no growth that's ever found inside your comfort zone. If you are comfortable, you are not growing, and you're most likely going backwards, because you're either growing or you're shrinking. There is no maintaining in this world. You're either moving ahead or you're shrinking back. That's it. So great episode to cover off, and really to shake the tree, ruffle a little feathers and see where you're at. Do an honest audit and figure out, hey, where am I currently at in this scale? Am I moving forward, and am I uncomfortable, or am I going backwards? And last but not least, how to deal with imposter syndrome. So how to handle that thing that cripples a lot of people, where they don't think that they're good enough. If they don't feel that they make the cut, or they're maybe in a position that they feel they haven't deserved or isn't warranted, really good thing to cover off. I think a lot of people feel this, and really it's unnecessary, because, in a matter of fact, if you weren't worthy of the position, you wouldn't be there. Somebody believed in you, you just might not believe in yourself. So that's the upcoming episodes. We're going to deep dive. You can stand by, because I've recorded some short videos on exactly what they are. Head over to my YouTube channel, where we'll be uploading them, and we'll look to get them out on all social media platforms. So enjoy those videos when they come out. They'll be coming out in sequence, and there will be a follow-up deep dive episode on that topic. So without further ado, let's dive right into today's episode, which is anxiety. Now, the reason anxieties came up is off the back of a recent podcast that I did. It sort of got a bit of attention, because I spoke about mental health, and my own view that there's a lot of mental health issues that are over diagnosed. So there's this whole sort of push to just jump to conclusions and label things, and essentially mislabel what's going on, because anxiety serves a very good function in life, and anxiety is actually something not to be scared of. But it seems to have been demonized. It seems to be something that disables people's ability to take action, and it seems to leave them feeling helpless and without the ability to take any action. So we're going to cover off what actually anxiety is. So you can actually identify when you truly feel anxiety, and what should be the necessary steps that you should take, because you can actually start to make this thing work for you. We're going to see why there's been a surge in anxiety. Is there any pitfalls in terms of the way narratives are shifted, what sources are pushing these narratives, and what's the danger of the nocebo effect? So the nocebo effect is there's not anything there, a bit like the placebo effect, but with a negative outcome. So for those of you that don't know, a placebo effect is where people get a positive response on the belief that they're having something that will have a positive response, and it will generally be nothing more than a salt tablet or a sugar tablet, and it's, they can get massive healing benefits on the belief that they're getting something that's going to change their outcome. So the nocebo is the reverse of that. There's nothing actually wrong, and then they create an illness or a negative feeling or symptoms when there's not actually anything to worry about. And that in anxiety is a big thing. We're going to go into the stats and the topics to find out exactly what it is. And then, most of all, at the end, if you stick around to the end, we're going to give you my top ways that I have used with my guys that I teach, the people that I've mentored, the people that I've helped over the years, how to destroy anxiety and not destroy anxiety, but how to destroy the negative part of any wiring that you have about anxiety. Because just like anything, anxiety does serve a good purpose. It does serve a function. But if you have a perception that is damaging or dangerous to you, then you're going to attach these rather limiting and disabling actions to it, which you don't need to do. So without further ado, let's begin with the stats. So here's some of the things that I was quite surprised to see. So on the face of it, it says that global anxiety disorders have been on the rise since 1990, with a 13% rise in mental health conditions worldwide, fueled by shifting demographics and relentless stressors. So there's relentless things that are causing stress. We'll come into what they are in just a bit. But it says here that in the United States, it's really, really prominent, where 1 in 3 adults are actually battling with anxiety. Rates are ticking up each year. 2024 a poll hit a new record of 43% of adults reporting higher anxiety than before. 77% of them were stressed out about the economy. 43% were on the edge about elections. And for the younger people, the younger demographic, it's even tougher. 18% of adults noted anxiety in 2022, up from 15% the year before. And teens felt that in the last 2 weeks that they were just completely riddled with anxiety. Social anxiety has gripped a lot of Americans. That's 7.1%. That's a total of 15 million Americans feeling disabled by anxiety. Shockingly, in the first 9 months of 2025, people seeking help for anxiety skyrocketed by over 93%. So, why is there a rise? What's causing this shift and this drive and this sort of issue? Well, let's start with what anxiety is. Anxiety is your body letting you know that you need to respond to something. So if you go back through where our ancestors would have been, imagine that you were in a tribe. You would have went out to the fishing boats, or you might have went out into the forest to collect berries, or coming back to the camp. You're walking along the camp. You're walking the same path that you always walk. You're heading back into the tribe, and you walk past the bush, and then behind that bush you hear a branch snapping, and it immediately gets your focus and it gets your attention, because your body is creating anxiety because it wants you to respond to something. It's identified something and needs you to take action. Now, that focus is there anything to worry about? Am I in any danger? If I am, what do I need to do? And is it nothing? So that's what anxiety is there to do. It's there to serve a purpose, to bring your attention to something. So anxiety is a good thing, because what it will do is it will create a response in your body. It'll increase your heart rate. It'll increase the blood flow to your muscles, so that you can take action, you can move out the way, you can get out of danger, you can get out of harm's way. And that's what anxiety's purpose is for. So nobody would say that that was a bad thing, but it seems to have been demonized recently, in the sense that anxiety is something that stops you. And it's actually the opposite of what anxiety is. Anxiety is there to make you take action, not to make you take no action. And you hear a lot of people saying things like, I feel stuck, I feel trapped, I feel that I can't do anything, I feel that anxiety's crippling, and all these sorts of things. And it's that might be the symptom of what they feel, but anxiety, it's the problem of mislabeling this thing called anxiety. Now, one of the dangers of mislabeling anxiety, or anything that you mislabel, is for generations we've been wired into believing that we identify the issue as the symptom, and instead of figuring out what the root problem is. So you want to actually establish why you're feeling anxious in the first place. So, things like, are you not in the best of shape? Are you not tending to little things that you need to deal with? Are you putting off things? Um, are you blowing things out of proportion? Uh, are you finding that you are having difficulty and not solving any problems? Is there anything that you have a burning desire to fix but are just not getting round to it? So there's lots and lots of things that could create this sort of environment to amplify it. And in the recent times, what people have had is they had this sort of drive by narrative to overemphasize things, to make things blow things out of proportion, make small problems into big problems. And what happens is people are now really, really getting out of hand. I mean, if you see, you maybe have seen some of the sort of videos of people being offended by everything, people being, you know, diagnosing everything from, ADHD, neurodivergent, say, depression, all these sorts of things. And it's not to say that all people that have these issues don't have them. There'll be people that genuinely have real mental health issues. But that doesn't mean that everyone that's self diagnosing actually has these. They seem to be just overdiagnosing things because they have one thing, they look up a symptom and they just jump on the bandwagon. And that creates an environment in you when you start to believe that these things are the case. And one of the things that is a big driver of this is actually media. So one of the biggest proponents is media. If you look at the way media is spun, media is always captured headlines with negative captions. So everything is shock, making drama, creating tension, making things, to grab your focus. The media now is the version of that stick being snapped behind the bush for your ancestors, is to create huge focus, because if they get focus, you'll buy their products, you'll buy their outlets, and essentially, then now in social media terms, you're giving it your attention. The difficulty with that is that when you start to create this environment in your body where it's negativity, 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 blowing it out of proportion, blowing it out of proportion, blowing it out of proportion, what you're doing is you're creating this wiring. So we as humans, we run on patterns, we spot patterns, we create a neurological wiring in our brains, which is how to respond to these triggers. And then when you create that negative wiring, what happens is if the wiring you create is this negative, over proportionate, blown out of proportion overload, then that's the wiring that you're going to run. The difficulty with that is that if you start to mislabel things as anxiety, 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 you know, over dramatized and so on, and spreads out, then everything is crippling. Everything is a problem. Everything is creating new issues. And remember where we started, anxiety serves a positive purpose for you to take action. But when you create this wiring that's been pushed, and a lot of it's been pushed by media, is this negativity is creating an environment which is blowing everything out of proportion. And now you can see the scale of the problem. This is why the numbers are pointing that anxiety is a big issue. This is why it's on the rise. And if you look at the way media is spun, wars, disasters, elections, and everything is hyper dramatized. Everything is hyper sensationalized. And it's just taking you away from that natural state that you should be in, which is, hey, this anxiety isn't a bad thing. Do I need to take action? Do I need to ask myself, is there danger here? Yes or no? And if it's no, then let it go. Just let it go. And most people grip so tightly onto things now. No wonder they feel crippled. It must be exhausting holding on to all these negative things. So one of the things that is the problem, I touched on it earlier, is the nocebo effect. So it is the reverse of the placebo effect, and it creates toxic expectations where outside noise will drive up your anxiety, and it's creating this environment in your body where you're just things that wouldn't have bothered you before now become a massive hindrance. And it's like a negative self-fulfilling loop, and it amplifies any small things and creates them into massive fears. And it creates this pain and stress in your body, which then turns into inflammation, and then it can manifest itself in physical ailments. And this is why you see the rise in people getting sick. You know, they're literally getting sick. They're going for junk food. They're not working out. They're not taking care of their bodies. You know, and they're swirling in this sort of negative doom loop of mess. You know, and you look at the rise of doom scrolling, and everything is just catastrophe. Everything is hyper drama. Everything is fights. Everything is like who said what to who, and it's just blowing right out of proportion. And you can imagine what this is doing to your body because your mind is consumed with it. It's then creating this wiring, and then it's making this body feel really, really off its normal harmony. And as I said, the rise in inflammation, and then add in highly processed foods because you know you feel in discomfort. The junk food's easy, you grab it, and then you start to overconsume. You overeat. You know that feeling when you eat, it relax. The blood flow goes to your stomach, your diaphragm relaxes, and you start to feel it takes the edge off it. So you seek that over and over again. Maybe it's smoking, maybe it's other outlets, you know, and other addictions. But these addictive tendencies are there because you want to escape that feeling. Well, rather than looking for the escape, why don't we deal with the problem? Because the problem is these mislabels. So here's some of the things that you can do. I would advise the first thing that I would do to kill this in its tracks is exercise. Now, whatever your jam is, whether it's in the gym, slinging big heavy weights, whether it's just going to walk on a treadmill, or even better, getting a walk outside. You could be doing something as simple as a basic circuit in your house. You could be doing a YouTube video with a basic beginner's exercise class. You could be just doing push-ups in your house. But get your body moving. Because as you build up these stress hormones in your body, the cortisol rises, the inflammation rises. Flush that out your body. Because remember, this thing that's responding in your body called anxiety is preparing you to take action. So there's a response in your body, physiological response, a chemical response to get you to take action. And if you don't exercise and empty that chemical reaction that's within your body and dump these hormones, then it lingers there. And this is where it creates that toxic environment. And what you want to do is release those chemicals. Physical exercise is the best way. And guess what? You don't need to wait for a bear behind the bush or a saber-toothed tiger or anything your ancestors faced. Real anxiety. You've just created some anxiety that is more often than not just a creation of your negative wiring. There's no fear. There's no actual imminent danger. Go get to yourself to the gym. Go get yourself out there and walking. Get in the fresh air. Do whatever it is that you think would be the easiest thing for you to go out there and do, and start to take action and exercise. And you will notice how the endorphins start to rise as you exercise, and your body starts to dissipate those stress chemicals, and you start to feel better. And it will literally change your physiology and change how you feel. So that movement will start to get you in the swing of things. So the second thing that I would do is limit how much you're seeing media. So whether it be social media, whether it be legacy media, turn off the TV, stop looking at headlines, put aside put something else in its place. So if you're doom scrolling, get a timer on your phone, get these apps that limit how much that you're looking and surfing social media. Even if you want to get in social media, make a thing to change up the content that you're consuming. Stop looking for, hyper dramatized situations. Stop following reality shows. Stop watching this sensationalized headlines. Get away from it. Take a break and just step back. Now, initially that might seem hard if you're doom scrolling. Set yourself, a small time to ease off. So if you are consuming 5 hours a day, let's get that down to 4. You've got the screen time in your phone. Go have a look, see how much you're using it, and then start to ease yourself off of that. And if you can't ease yourself off, then switch the content that you're looking at. Change it up. Have a look for positive things. Have a look for mindfulness things. Have a look for things that are inspiring. Have a look for things that you can constructively use. Look for things that if you had an outcome that you wanted, what would it be? How would you get there? What steps would you take? Do you want to get in better shape? Do you want to get in better health? Do you want to visit a great location? Do you want to start a business? Do you want to become more confident? Do you want more freedom? Do you want more security in your life? Look for these things, this content, and consume better stuff. Get yourself away from this catastrophe. The other thing you can do, which I'm a big fan of, is what are you grateful for? So if you want to change your physiology, think of the good things that you've got in your life. Having a bit of gratitude will change your feelings and emotions rapidly. It will also change your physiology. So get yourself in a good place, get yourself comfortable and nice and relaxed, and then start to even just get a piece of paper out and write the things that you're grateful for. Friends, family, loved ones, that great thing that you achieved, something that you loved doing when you were young. Maybe somebody gave you a nice compliment. Maybe you complimented someone, and just start a list of the things that you're grateful for, and make that a thing. Just, hey, look, what are the things that are good in life? Because remember, what you focus on, you get more of. And this whole issue of anxiety is you're focusing on the negative. You're focusing on the dark, draining, just negative swirling energy. The what if it didn't work? What if this happened? What if that happened? How bad would it be? And it's like, get away from that. What happened if it worked? What happened if things got better? What happened if you got better? What would happen if you started to work out? These are the things that you can change. And you can change them in your mind. You don't need anything else to do it. Just this little thing in here. So these are the things that you can do, and it's going to change the shape and thought processes that you have, and it's going to take away from the constant negativity that you will feel if you're anxious. And remember, that anxiety serves a purpose, a positive purpose. Do you need to take action? Get a to-do list of things that you need to do. Does the garage need cleaned? Do you need to tidy that room? Do you need to take care of those bills? Is there something you need to tick off your list? Get that list done. What I would do is I would start with the easiest thing first. Order the list, make it the thing that you say, hey, look, I'm going to start with the easiest and build a bit of momentum, go through the to-do list. And what happens is you start to build a little pace. When you do that, magic will happen. So there's my top tips for anxiety. It's there to serve a great purpose. It was designed in our structures and our wiring in our mind to serve a positive intent. And it's been somewhere along the lines confused and hyper sensationalized and pushed by certain actors for narratives. And a lot of people are suffering the consequences of it. And if you are to know that you can change it, it's way easier than you think it is. It might not feel like that now, but just start some of these steps and you can start to get the results that you want, and it change the shape of this problem and make it a solution. So I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Mount Mindset. We look forward to doing these episodes coming up. As you might know, I have a visualization course if you want to learn how to visualize properly, how to get powerful and positive thoughts. If you want to start to get more money, more success, more results, feel better about yourself, actually have a plan of where you want to go in the future, you can check out the course. It'll be in the show notes below. But from me this week, that's a wrap.